Hello and welcome to the DSFM Applied AI Collaborative Podcast. Our guest today is Major Holly Fitzgerald, one of my students in the Alpha 455 Data Literacy Essentials for Staff Officers. So, good morning, Holly. How are you?
All right, sir. How are you?
Great. Hey, can you, first, for our listeners, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, a little background, maybe some of your past experiences, jobs, whatever you like.
Alrighty. I'm a reservist from New York. That was a fancy sentence.
Yeah, that was me just hitting the weird button there. Don't worry about that. That'll record and make people, scratch their heads. Go ahead, please.
Sound magical.
It was kind of magical.
My usual life in civilian world, I'm an elementary school gym teacher. So I wear pajamas and play games all day. It's fantastic. And then on the 1 week and a month, 2 weeks a year, biggest lie my recruiter ever told me, I'm an engineer.
Okay, and what kind of things have you done as an, you said guard, reserve? I'm sorry. Reserve. Okay, so what sort of things have you done as an engineer officer?
Mostly construction, just because those were the units that are closest to my house. I bounced around in the same battalion for 9 years. So after graduating from here, hopefully, I'm going to a combat engineer unit. So that'll be exciting, a little bit different.
Okay, and if I recall correctly in class, I think you introduced yourself as the non-engineer engineer or something like that.
The engineers have a joke that if you have your PE, your professional engineer certification, you're the real engineer.
You're the real engineer.
Yeah, so I joke that I have the wrong PE because I'm a phys ed teacher.
Did you pick any of that? What was your undergrad in elementary school education or something similar? Or?
Just general physical education. It's K through 12. And then in New York, you have to have a master's to teach. So I went right to grad school and got my master's in phys ed as well.
You have to have your master's to teach?
Yes, sir.
Even
Yep.
Elementary school?
Yep.
So every single elementary school teacher in the state of New York has a master's degree?
Yeah. So then when I went to enlist, they were like, well, why are you enlisting? Why don't you become an officer?
Yeah.
You already have your master's degree. And I was like, I don't know the difference.
Oh,
So,
when was this?
2012.
Okay. So you started in the Army in 2012.
Yep. I
Okay.
was teaching for 3 years, made sure I had tenure first because I didn't know that the law worked, that my superintendent told me, well, you're going to lose your seniority. And I was like, well, I don't want to lose my job. The teachers were getting cut left and right back then after the crash of '08.
Yeah.
So I thought the Army would be my backup plan. And I was like, well, if I do lose my teaching job, then I can just switch to active duty or get certified in something else, be a project manager. I don't know.
Okay. So what made you decide to come in the Army after 3 years of being a teacher?
That's a long story.
Yeah?
My brother is a lot younger than I am, and I ended up being his coach in high school. I was almost his teacher, and he was big into JROTC.
Yeah.
And I did this whole Army thing wrong, so I was always interested in serving, but didn't know how. I didn't have room for ROTC in my schedule. We didn't have it at my college. I didn't know you could get it paid for college.
Yeah.
Again, I did this all wrong. Didn't get any money. But my brother was interested in joining ever since he was like 7.
Yeah.
So then I got more interested in it, and especially his JROTC instructor was the one that helped me enlist. So he and I were going to join together.
You and your brother?
Correct.
And did you?
He never joined. And
What?
Here I am 13 years later.
He suckered you into it.
I know.
Okay.
That's okay.
Well,
I love it.
it seemed to have worked out for you so far. Okay. So, you're a student in Alpha 455. Used to be called quantitative skills for staff officers, but given recent changes in I guess the world, with the emergence of generative AI and some of the tools that people are really familiar with now, or at least becoming familiar with. We've made some changes to the course and tried to integrate that and a couple of other things that are going to be featured in academic year 26, but you're the fortunate recipient of some of the early content that's been integrated into this course. So, but before we get to that, can you tell me about maybe like your first encounter with anything generative AI? Maybe somebody showed you ChatGPT or something. I'd like to hear what was your first experience like?
I think it was February when one of my classmates told me about Notebook LM.
This February?
Correct, sir.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Okay.
So all of the exercises we were doing, and especially in AOC of mission analysis, I'm trying to read all these documents that were given, and I was confused. Like, well, how is everybody processing all this so fast? I'm still trying to read the initial information.
They left you out?
And everybody's got their running estimates. And I was like, man, is this because, I thought a little, maybe because I'm the reservist and we don't do this as much. I'm a little slow.
I feel so slow.
So then, yeah, one of my classmates was like, no, just I put all this stuff into Notebook LM and then asked the questions, and it found references for me.
Okay.
So I found that really helpful for the history paper. So it's like, oh, well, you have this book of readings that's 1,000 pages long. And I'm like, I know I read this at some point. Help me find it.
So what did you, how did you use that? How did you use Notebook LM for that assignment?
I just used it to help me with evidence for my points. I knew what I wanted to write my paper about. I knew I had read the information in assigned readings for class, but I couldn't remember exactly which reading said what or had a stronger opinion than the other.
Okay.
So I'd upload the book of readings into Notebook LM, and I said, hey, I know this is in here somewhere. Can you help me find this or help me find evidence to support this point of mine?
Yeah.
And then it said, oh, well, in reading H412 whatever, it says this quote. I'm like, oh, well, that's guess what I was going for or not, and then I'd read through that a little bit and then pull from there for my supporting points.
Okay. So you use Notebook LM sort of as your research assistant.
Yes, and luckily, because when I was going through the Adobe file myself, it got corrupted and I lost 8 hours of highlighting and saving comments that I wanted to use for my papers.
Oh, wow. Oh.
It's a good time saver at the end.
Yeah. So did you use it for any other assignments or projects, or do any other professional related tasks or personal related tasks? I don't know.
I didn't use it for anything personal yet. I did then in my first set of electives, had a class about strategic concepts. Mm-hmm. And in one of the classes we had a set of different documents about the future, and I uploaded all of those into Notebook LM, and I said, do you see a recurring theme, pattern, point of view? Just to help synthesize all the articles into one.
Okay. So you found it to be a great time saver.
Yes.
All right. And did it help you find some key points or evidence that maybe you would have overlooked? Or just maybe sped things up?
I think it just sped things up. I don't think it really elaborated anything more, like how ChatGPT seems to more pull from external sources.
Yeah. That's sort of a different approach there. Okay. And did you have, before you started Alpha 455 for term 2 this year, did you have any other generative AI exposure?
No, I mean, I barely use a computer in my civilian job, so I kind of felt behind. And now the Army's coming out with these transformation initiatives where we need to use AI and use AI. I was like, well, I'm already behind.
So I just have to ask, given that background, what inspired you to sign up for this class? Did it seem kind of scary?
No, I was excited to finally work with data, not write papers anymore.
Oh, okay.
The engineer brain was excited. Math, numbers, cool.
Okay, yeah, because a lot of students, I'll try to talk my own students into taking a class, and I've had mixed results with that over the years.
Well, now I'm sad I missed out on, is it Alpha 205?
Yeah. That actually came out last year. It was piloted last year, and they brought it back. And I haven't seen what they changed, but I imagine that it has significantly more depth than what you would have encountered when you took, I think they call it Charlie 141.
That didn't go over anything. I didn't think.
It was just wave tops. It didn't, so, but 205 was helpful.
And I'm saying I wish I took
Oh,
it.
you didn't take it?
No.
Oh, crap.
I didn't know that one also existed. I was like, oh, man.
Yeah. One of the other students in class took it.
Josh, who sits next to me.
Josh, okay. So he's just cruising then, probably, huh? Okay. Well, let's get into the course now. Can you think of a specific example where either in class or for homework or whatnot, you used generative AI to do an assignment or help you do something with Excel, like maybe create or set up the formulas or whatnot? Think about one of your experiences with that and talk us through it.
I use it for every assignment now.
Okay.
More so to back myself up. So I still want to be able to do it on my own in Excel.
Yeah.
And I forget which lesson it was, but if you used Gen AI for it, it seemed to be wrong every time.
Yeah.
So you had to rely on Excel.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I have trust issues anyway. So using Gen AI is kind of like a checks and balances between the two methods. I still want to keep expanding and using different forms of it. So like I started with ChatGPT. That's the easiest.
Yeah.
But then after Dr. Lithgow showed us Anaconda and Jupyter,
Yeah.
trying to get more into Python coding with that.
Oh, so you did some coding.
I did. And then I even tried to apply it to a different class I have about Indo-Pacific strategy.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, like I was trying to get into generating images.
Okay.
I said, could you make code to make me a map of West Papua and this kind of thing going on over here? And Jupyter was not good at that.
Oh, yeah. Jupyter, and I am not an expert on that. I probably explained in class. I just use it to execute code that I'll create for different purposes. But
it's very good at like charts, tables,
visualizations,
and calculations. And even ChatGPT is still struggling with image generation. So I'm sure we'll get there one day. But
yeah, I mean, I've started working with a Python program that's on my hard drive, on my computer now, so I can take advantage of the different libraries and other techniques that you really can't get after in Jupyter. At least I'm not able to. But okay, so what sort of challenges have you encountered trying to figure out the application of Gen AI to some of the problems you've been working through?
The DoD systems I haven't been able to navigate, so I was trying to use the different applications advantage.
Yeah.
They just weren't very user-friendly.
Okay.
And then trying to look for little user guides weren't really helpful in trying to walk through that.
No, it's kind of funny about that, because we're going to talk a little bit about that in our last class sessions. And the funny thing is that I started using one of the tools on Vantage, I'll show you which one, to try to generate instructions, step by step on how to do stuff. And it was apparent from the instructions that there were instructions talked about features that didn't exist yet. You know what I mean? So it was telling me you could do this and I could do this and I could do this, but no, that button wasn't there yet. Or so it's clear that they know, or Vantage, they know what they want, or what their artificial intelligence platform, their AIP platforms are supposed to look like, or what they're supposed to do, but as indicated by the instructions, but in reality, they're not there yet. So that was kind of funny. But so I'm sorry, go back to how about with ChatGPT? Any challenges? You mentioned issues with coding there. Or not coding, but just doing analysis, and you weren't happy with the results.
Correct. I wish I remembered which assignment it was, but when I did it in Excel, and then I asked ChatGPT to run the same problem, and then it came up with a different result. And I said, well, how'd you get that? Shouldn't it be this? Oh, you're right. I did this wrong.
Isn't that
Then it
funny how
corrected
it'll do
itself.
that?
And then
it'll apologize
and then
sometimes.
It corrected itself again. And I was like, wait.
I'm
I
so
did
sorry
this.
for doing that.
Nope. So it tried like 3 times and then still had a different answer than what I got with the code in Jupyter.
Wow. Okay. But you've used it to create code and cut and pasted that into Jupyter.
In ChatGPT?
Yeah. Have you tried that creating?
Yes.
Okay. And that's worked out.
Yeah, I've tried general prompting and copying the code over as well, just to see differences.
Okay. Generally,
ChatGPT seems pretty spot on with the code, and it'll comment like, "Oh, this is great looking code." I'm like, well, thanks, I didn't do it, but.
So did you just try code in Python, or did you try other languages?
Just Python so far.
Just Python. Okay. Yeah. I don't think anyone has talked about using R.
I haven't used R yet.
Yeah. And actually, that's the program that's more suited for stats and these sorts of problems. Although Python does like 99.9% of everything we need for our class. Not looking at that really advanced data, analytics that I think that data scientists use R for. So I don't think we're missing out on anything. I just thought it'd be interesting to see if any students went that way. I don't think so. I'm trying to remember from the journals if anybody mentioned it. Maybe, but it didn't. Nothing pops into my mind. So, as you are an educator, as an educator, what do you think about the ethics of using generative AI? What are your thoughts on that? How's it going to change education? What do you think?
I had a chat with one of the other reservists about this because she's also a college professor. She said she could already see it in their papers. I was like, well, I teach kindergarten. I don't really have to worry about that.
Yeah.
But
not a huge writing burden, right?
There was a time, actually, where we were required to give written assessments and assignments. That was not fun. But I can see where there's not as much thought put into it. And students going, hey, I have this resource here. I'm just going to take it for its word. Like, without realizing you still need to go back and check it. Because, one, it could be wrong. Two, just the language may not sound right.
Yeah.
Unless you train it to sound like you. But I don't think kids in a pinch are going to put that much effort into that. Or be able to tell.
Yeah. So, given the fact that at least the I don't know.
I have tried asking it for lesson planning.
Oh yeah.
Advice.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
I have. Any luck with that?
Not so far, but I might not have been doing good prompts then.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
it's just I have this equipment, I have this many kids. Come up with some kind of game for me that maybe I don't know.
Have you tried experimenting with creating a RAG, doing retrieval augmented generation?
Never heard of that.
Okay. Well, we did talk about it on day one in class, but I probably went through it pretty quickly. When you see Dr. Long again, he can definitely fill your canteen on best practices when it comes to that kind of stuff. Where was I? Oh yeah, the future of education. So I guess the conventional wisdom is around here is that, well, what's the value of these writing assignments, given the fact that at present Gen AI usage is largely untraceable. I mean, obviously you can detect a change in tone. If a elementary schooler starts using,
$10 words.
$10 words, big words and words that he or she clearly doesn't understand, then yeah, that might be a clue. But what do you see happening in the future, especially for those poor, overworked middle and high school English teachers and creative?
I think they'll adapt and use it for grading as well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But how do they
counter AI with AI?
But how would they assess the students properly? Do you think they're going to?
That I think is the hard part. How do you know what's their thought and contribution?
Yeah. Any thoughts on
what they got out of it? I think you'd have to back it up with another assessment.
What kind of assessment?
no access. Remember the old blue books?
Oh, yeah.
Here,
Okay.
Write your essay.
So make people do written work in class. Okay. What about? I was kind of thinking that maybe
like projects.
Maybe we'd have more, not like an X100 level, but more oral assessments. All right. We've talked the last 5 classes about X, Y, and Z. For the next 10 minutes, tell me about X, Y, and Z. I mean, that might be the way, as crude as that sounds, that may be the way ahead. What do you think?
I agree. I think there's got to be some kind of forcing function for that critical thinking.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I don't know if we're going to head that way or not, but that would be my recommendation right now. Okay. So we talked a little bit about your relatively new experiences with generative AI. How do you envision yourself using it in the future, both professionally and personally?
That I haven't really sat down and thought through yet. I feel like I have all these little pieces from class and thoughts, but not how to put them together. And I think it'll click more once I get to my next job, being a battalion XO, and looking at like, okay, I've been kind of out of the loop the last couple of years, at least in operational world.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, well, are we using Power BI, and what are we pulling from, and what kind of data are we looking at? What gaps do we have?
Do you have any concerns about falling behind?
Well, I always do as a reservist. I always feel like we're slow on the uptake.
Yeah. And at the school where you work, have there been any significant changes to curricula, or maybe some new policies and whatnot? What are you hearing?
Interestingly, the last I heard was they took a similar stance to CGSC. It's like, well, we don't condone the use of it. I don't think we have a set policy on it one way or the other, but yet our teacher centers, we have to do so many hours of professional development every year, is offering a few classes, but I don't think it's directly through my district. It's kind of how to use AI in your planning or classroom, but I don't think they haven't been really clear on it with student use. But on the other hand, I don't pay as much attention to that because I can't even get a whiteboard in that I've asked for years. So all the kids have Chromebooks in every other class but mine, so technology is severely lacking in the gym.
Oh, okay. Well, you're not dipping into your own pockets to do stuff like that, are you? I know when I
buy card stock for awards and stuff like that, but not.
No, my wife for a while did a lot of long-term sub types of work, and heck, I think one year she did like first or second grade because of a pregnancy, I think, something like that. And she remarked about how much a typical teacher would like buy their own supplies, and from everything from Kleenex to extra pencils and things like that. Probably not as big of a deal for PE, but still.
Yeah, my supplies last a while, but I'm not going out and buying my own basketballs for them or whatnot. But.
Okay. Let's see. We are about done here. Okay. So if you could summarize maybe, and remember, one of the promises that I made, one of the value proposition I made at the beginning of Alpha 455 is that, if you pay attention, come to class, do the homework, write your reflections, blah, 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 you should leave, Fort Leavenworth and this course with some additional tools in your toolkit. Do you feel like you've acquired some new shiny tools for your toolkit, and you have maybe a different outlook on problem solving now, or are you still kind of getting used to the idea? And be honest, it won't bother me either way.
No, I think definitely. I mean, I find it very fascinating and fun. Like, ooh, new toys.
Puzzles.
Kind of, yeah. Oh, we It's
You like
puzzle
doing
book.
you like doing those Sudoku or whatever.
Cryptograms is my thing.
I haven't. I think I know what that is.
I got it behind me. I'll show you in a minute.
Oh, okay, okay. And then, what is that one thing? It was really faddish for a while.
Wordle?
Wordle, yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't do that.
I've never done. Yeah, I haven't done that either. I'm not even sure what it's about, but it's like what, anagrams and stuff, or I don't know.
There's like a word of the day.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look it up after this because I honestly don't know about how that works. Yeah.
But no, I definitely want to keep playing with it and then trying to use it in both of my jobs. And then I hope the school next year incorporates it more during Common Core and AOC and not just we're going to talk about data literacy for an hour at the beginning, but not elaborate in it or implement it. So there was no like practical application. I think that's where the schoolhouse can take an advantage of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's certain things that that kind of come and go and maybe seem a little bit faddish. And
like I think it was Mod 2 when we were deploying the division and we had to make the movement table.
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect opportunity.
Oh, most certainly. Yeah. Most certainly. And I mean, the point about those sort of exercises are not to make everyone expert movement planners and with the ability to create masterful movement tables and whatnot. It's just kind of understand the process and how that works. But maybe speeding it up with some Gen AI usage would maybe help students get after some of the larger concepts and things like that a little better instead of getting stuck in the weeds.
That or make your movement table and then ask Gen AI, is this feasible?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good point, too. That gives me ideas for next year. Okay. Well, I really appreciate your time today.
Thanks for having me.
Our time is about up. Yeah. It's and any parting comments on the class, on CGSC, on what your plans are for the future? Anything you'd like to share?
No, just that I would definitely recommend this class for future students. It's definitely one of the most useful ones I've had.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. And now you're an expert at doing pairwise comparisons, right? So you can, let me show you how to do that. It's easy. All right. Okay, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time, and hopefully this and the other podcasts that we generate will help inform our future curricula and approaches to using this new tool at the Command and General Staff College. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for the opportunity.